shit. Here we go again.
Low, low, man. Low, low,
You like contracts, right? You're a contract guy.
I read contracts instead of conventional pornography, yes.
Emotional damage.
Oh fuck. Okay. I'm just gonna do a little clip here. We're gonna do a little clip.
Fuck you! Fuck you! Fuck you! Fuck you! Fuck you!
Okay, there you go. Fuck you to StreamYard for always resetting my settings every single time I unplug anything from my computer. One unplugged thing. And it's like, you know what? We're gonna reset all your settings. How do you like that, Andrew? Thank you, Computer Sama. I like it when you reset all of my settings. Yes, I am so grateful for you. Good to see everybody here today. Of course, legal mindset, where teacher be your own judge. The second intro I've done today. But it's good to see everybody here today. Happy to see you guys. Happy to be here. Good to see you guys. That's why I use OBS. Yeah, but I have all my stuff loaded up in this. I've already committed so much. And I've also paid money for this shit. So I'm stuck. I'm in here. The poor boomer blames his tools. No, it's me. No, it's 100% me. Let's not kid yourself. I should know better by now. But anyway, it's good to see everybody here today. And yes, I see somebody in the chat post about the Alyssa Mercante cease and desist. I have that for another day. So that's one topic I thought about doing today, but I've only got about an hour today. I have clients in town, so I'm very, very busy the next week or so. So my streams may be a little bit shorter, maybe a little bit impromptu at hours they're not normally at. But I, of course, will be streaming as much as I can. But the next week or so, I am really, really, really busy with weird IRL work. Oh no, Andrew's working. It's crazy. So my streams will be a little bit more infrequent the next 2 weeks. So excusez-moi for that. But wanted to come here today because I thought that all of these things that happened, especially in light of what's going down in the UK and what's going down elsewhere in the world, there's some serious threats to free speech. I mean, we saw that with the UK with, two-tier Kier and what's going on with the censorship and arrests over there in the UK. And now we've got France right across the channel, right? Which to me, France was always this bastion of free speech. They were always, that's one of the kind of roots of our American love for freedom of speech is actually more, I would say, France than even England. Right, because to a certain extent, especially in the monarchy, the stronger monarchical period in England. Not that they're not still a monarchy, but when the monarchy actually flexed a little bit more, free speech was a little bit more limited than it was over there in good old France. So you could even say that the roots of that tradition are probably more anchored on the francophone side than the anglophone side. Although obviously there's bases in both traditions. But France seems to be pretty cucked with what they're doing here, both to Telegram and to Rumble. And this is absolutely ridiculous. And, we're going to go over it. And I want to cover two different articles on this because they really expose where they want to go. One thing I love about reading these articles is they tell you where they're going to go from a regulation and law standpoint, from this is what we are going to crack down on, and this is what we are calling this, right? Because the way they refer to these things is very, very, very telling. Real quick, I'm here for Scuff says muted. Thank you. And Weird says, obviously, by the way, I'm here for Scuff. Clearly I delivered with that
パーティングモンキーとかさ。
intro. That was a bad one. That's a bad one. Weird says Britain is overdue for a traditional war with France. Yeah, well, I feel like they're on the same page on this issue, though. I feel like they're on the same page of this issue. Yeah, here we go. Some says I think Sweden has strong free speech laws. I don't know about that. I don't know much about Swedish law, frankly. I don't. But that said, what I do know is that they arrested, and we'll get to the article, so because obviously some of you have seen this, some of you may not have seen this, but they arrested Pavel Durov. Now, who is Pavel Durov? He is the CEO or the founder, CEO of Telegram. The picture of him jacked on the thumbnail, that's Pavel Durov. Whenever I find if you ever post a topless photo and you become an internet celebrity, that will be used as a thumbnail against you, right? It will be used against you. So they arrested him in France, right, in connection with an investigation to criminal activity on the platform and lack of cooperation with law enforcement. He was detained at Le Bourget airport just outside Paris on Saturday evening after arriving from Azerbaijan on his private jet. His surprise arrest has sparked debate over free speech worldwide and led to an outcry in Moscow. The Paris prosecutor Laurent Bacon said that the investigation concerned crimes related to illicit transactions, child sex abuse, fraud, and the refusal to communicate information to authorities. So what this really stems from is them alleging that there is child CP type material on a platform. So understand, we've done a big talk about this, especially during talking about VTubing stuff and talking about whether animated stuff classifies as child sex materials. Well, in some jurisdictions it does. It indeed does. In some it does not. So this precedent here could lead to platforms like Discord, like whatever else, right? WhatsApp, whatever, right? Any sort of platform where anything is shared, all those platforms can be hit for, and not just, and mind you, this is not just them arresting or finding the company or whatever. This is them arresting a CEO for people allegedly, once again, not proven yet, but allegedly using Telegram for child sex abuse materials, allegedly, right? Now, of course, Telegram is encrypted, but the difference is with Telegram is it's encrypted in such a way that Telegram itself can view messages, so they can actually go in and look at those messages. However, from the user standpoint, it's encrypted, right? Now, it's not end-to-end. And of course, we're going to talk about that because I think they speculate on this in one of these articles, but I do think this is going to really push end-to-end encryption, where the platform won't have any idea what's there. And from a liability standpoint, especially after this, there is a huge legal push if you are making one of these companies to not know what anybody is sending. Because if you don't know what anybody is sending, then you cannot be held liable. Now, I know what they're going to do because they hate free speech. They're going to try to move the yardstick and saying, no, that's not possible. You're not allowed to do that. You can't have something where you don't know. You can't have something be encrypted totally. You can't do that because these people hate free speech and they want moderation and censorship in a China-esque fashion as fast as possible. Now, of course, technologically, there are things coming out like Nostr, and there's other things that may make it more possible to have social networks that are more decentralized and more resistant to moderation and stuff like that. But this is definitely a very, very, very dangerous precedent. Billy Oki said Singapore has strong free speech walls. I wish. And Leprechaun Gold for 4. Thank you so much for the Shiba Bucks. Appreciate that. Appreciate your support of the channel. And thank you for coming by, guys. I know it's been a little bit since I streamed, so I gotta work out the kinks here. And appreciate all you guys who are here today. If you just smash the like button, that's all the things I need. So continuing here. Macron gave the confirmation that Durov was arrested, says in a state governed by rule of law, freedoms are upheld within a legal framework, both on social media and real life, to protect citizens and respect fundamental rights, saying it's not a political decision. It's up to the judiciary in full independence to enforce the law. This is super cope. In fact, the freedoms, right? Freedoms are what's being limited. I give the freedom of speech, right? And also just the freedom of kind of venue. Right? Like you're punishing the venue for the content of the people that use the venue. This to me is the same from an analysis standpoint as punishing gun companies because, well, people shoot each other, or punishing a knife company because people stab people, or punishing Toyota because terrorists use Toyotas. And one of the reasons why they're so mad about this and why they got up in a rut about this is because apparently ISIS at one point used Telegram to coordinate attacks in, I believe, Paris and in maybe Germany, I believe. And that's one of the reasons they got upset about it. But okay, I understand you're upset, but at the same time, are you trying to punish the car companies they use to run people over? Are you trying to punish the backpack, right? Manufacturer where they put the bomb inside of the backpack, right? How far is this logical chain going to go out? It's kind of ridiculous. In fact, I want to see if I can find this cartoon. There was a good cartoon about what they're kind of doing in the UK right now. Because the kind of standard has gotten pretty ridiculous with this and how people are holding what they feel like they need to hold the standard to. Here's a good one. Oh, this is a great one. Yeah. This is, of course, from G Prime 85 on X. This is a very classic one, right? Over here in Britain, right? So, you've got a little stabby stab going on here. You got another one. If only I could deduce a pattern. Guy holding a knife. You're under arrest. And they arrest the knife. It's like, that's the logic here. That's the logic we're going with here. They're arresting the knife. Right. The arresting knife. Also, what's up, Tack? And what's up to the BLM? Shout out to my base members. Appreciate you guys out there. Real quick. Jim Blade says free speech is like kryptonite to tyrannical governments. Yeah, they really hate it. They really hate it. And they're seeing it's a problem because they're being called out and exposed. The issue they see is the truth is getting out, and they can't have that happen. They need it to come through mainstream media where it's censored, where it's filtered, where it's sterile, where it's exactly what they want you to hear. That's the only way they get away with this shit. The only way. Jim Blades said in the 90s, a Norwegian guy got arrested for calling the Norwegian government the last Soviet state due to overreach and speech crackdowns. Oof! Get him! Primacy says for 20,000, the hypocrisy of Western nations is hilarious. It really is. And in many cases, non-Western nations, even ones that have relatively strict laws, at least to a certain extent, there's different freedoms there that don't exist, particularly on a personal level, that may not exist in other places. So yeah, no, it's very interesting. What is this? Why Nin O May says, I love you. Oh, okay. Well, appreciate it. Thank you as a member. Appreciate that. I love all of you guys too. I love all of you.
Degenerates. You guys degenerates.
Actually, there's probably another better clip for that. But anyways, that said, let's get back to this article. So, at the heart of this case is lack of moderation and cooperation of the platform. So they're telling you, this is what the Secretary General of OFMEN, which is the French agency, the children's agency, that issued the arrest warrant for Durov for fighting child sexual abuse material. So what they want to do here is moderate and censor, and they're kind of giving it away, right? They want you to moderate and they want you to bend over backwards for the feds, right? They want you to give the government whatever they ask and take it wherever you need for the government. Because make no mistake, look, I'm all for prosecuting child sex crimes. Prosecute those all day, every day. Do it, lock them up, send them to the wall, all that good stuff, right? That's great. 100% prosecute those. However, the CEO of Telegram is not the one sending that material. There's no criminal culpability. There's no mens rea there, right? And you don't make a platform or make a venue thinking it's going to be used for something bad. Like I said, when somebody makes a Toyota, they don't think that they're going to stick a gun on the back of it and do some ethnic cleansing in South Sudan, right? You don't think about that. Now, is it a possible use? Of course it is, right? Of course it is. Of course, anytime you create anything that's even moderately dangerous, hell, you sharpen a pencil, that can be used to stab somebody in the eye, right? There's a potential use, but that doesn't mean you're liable for that, right? Sorry, you guys are killing me. Valerian says, I love you as well, Andrew. You know what? I've got to play it. I've got a clip for this. There's so much love today. I got to play this clip.
You don't deserve me. You don't deserve me. You wouldn't be able to handle me. I'm too powerful for you. My GFE is too strong for you, chat.
It's been a while since I've had an excuse to use that one. It's a perfect one. Perfect. So these guys are also investigating X, right? Right. They're also investigating Twitter, right? X now as well, because they're, same types of folks want to shut down that speech. All right. So they said here, specialist cybercrime and fraud detectives are looking into 12 alleged offenses linked to organized crime, including the complicity and in the possession and distribution of images of children of a pedopornographic nature, drug offenses, and fraud. It is not clear which, if any, of the alleged offenses police are questioning Durov over. Here's the thing. Why don't you just address the people that sent those, right? Why don't you just stop the actual people? Because stopping this doesn't arrest the person. The people who are really trying to get that sort of material will obtain it by carrier pigeon, right? You need to cut it out at the root. That is the people doing it, not just a platform which can be used for anything. Meta SD said, I think a lot of Americans are surprised to learn that European countries don't have the same protections of speech that America does. They just kind of assume the EU has the same rights we do. Yeah, and they don't. And I think some people think I'm harsh on the EU, but this is exactly what I'm talking about. That is a major legal distinction between the US and the EU, whereby this would never legally fly. They would never be able to do something like this in the US and say, oh yeah, we're going to lock you up because you didn't cooperate with the government for running a platform. Right? That's not something we would ever do. So at least, in general. In fact, the platforms that are collaborating with the government, as we're going to see when we get to the Zuckerberg trial, they're being exposed right now. Right? And what happened with Zuckerberg with the censorship there is being exposed. Right? And that's part of our tradition of pushing back against that sort of thing. Right, which is good. It's a win for free speech everywhere. And I think, when you get these wins, they do percolate out. Yinka says they only want to look good, not actually solve it exactly. They want to just say, hey, look what we did. And they want to make headlines. Somebody in that agency wanted to make a headline. You know how you make a headline? You know how you prove that you're doing something? You make a bogus arrest. They used to do it all the time. The cops would do it all the time. They go out and arrest the town drunk for some stupid shit because nobody cares if they blame the town drunk. Look, we made an arrest. We closed this case. I like that. The First Amendment can only survive with the Second Amendment. Well, these things do go hand in hand. Also, Teddy is the best. Joined. Appreciate you strapping up for the replay, gang. Thank you, Teddy. Appreciate it. Absolutely. Very much based. Thank you for that. All right. So Durov is a here we go. So Telegram made a statement that Telegram abides by EU laws, including the Digital Services Act, with moderation is within industry standard and constantly approving. It is absurd to claim that a platform or its owner is responsible for the abuse of that platform. Durov, a self-styled libertarian often cast as Russia's Mark Zuckerberg, left Russia after refusing to comply with the Kremlin. I see, this is crazy. So I thought they all hate Putin, so they should love him when he stood up to Russia. But no, and this is a story that really exposes their true motives. This isn't about like, are you pro or anti-Putin? They're anti-free speech. This is why I thought that I had to cover this, because it exposes, look, if they were anti-Putin, well, this guy, obviously, as buddy has with Putin. So if you wanted to be, anti-Putin, he would be an ally. But that's not what you want. What you want is 1984 in authoritarianism. Leprechaun Gold for 10. Thank you so much. Appreciate that. Sheba with some fans. Thank you so much. I like Shebas. Very cute. Very cute. Actually, do I have well, we'll get that clip later. All right. So he came up with VK, which for those who don't know is like the Russian site it's like, what is it? Vodocontact. I forget the full name. VK is like Vodocontact or something like that, or Vodcontact, but it's very, very popular. It's like Russian Facebook. And you know what's really cool about VK, at least the VK when I used to use VK? I had friends in Poland and they used VK. VK has music. So you Vkontakta, yeah. It actually so you could like put music on stuff, which was pretty cool. It was pretty much a Facebook clone, but I thought it was better. It means in contact. Oh, cool. Yeah. Cool. Yeah, so he was forced to sell VK after a dispute with his Kremlin-linked owners and turned his focus to Telegram. He lives in Dubai, obtained a French passport in 2021 through a special procedure for high-profile foreigners, exempting them from usual requirements, including having lived in the country for at least 5 years. Telegram has long been used by pro-democracy activists in countries such as Belarus, Hong Kong, and Iran. So literally saying this is helping democracy, right? But you know what? They don't really care about democracy. What does this expose? They do not care about democracy. They do not care about whether free speech, whether it's in the American sense or even in the general sense. They care about their agenda and their moderation, right? And then here we go. It has become a haven for extremists and conspiracy theorists. There it is, folks. There it is. You are an extremist and you are a conspiracy theorist. The app was also used by far-right agitators plotting anti-immigration rallies in England and North Ireland after the stabbing of 3 children at a dance class in Southport. See, already calling people far-right. Just my extremists, Telegram has denied allegations its platform facilitates illegal activities such as terrorism, fraud, and child exploitation. They clash with the Kremlin, fighting them over free speech, right? In Russia, they say the arrest of Pavel Durov confirmed that there has been no European or even global pro-Western freedom of speech. And honestly, the Russians get to take the W on this, right? Like, it shows that effectively, de jure, at least in France, right, freedom of speech is not being held up. Now, I would say that, we see this in Europe, we see this in France and in the UK, right? Maybe not all of Europe. Maybe there are countries that are a little bit more permissive, right? I don't like sweeping all of Europe in there, but let's just say EU countries tend to go that way. Right. And what it says, so Martina Butina, a Russian lawmaker, said Durov is a political prisoner, a victim of a witch hunt by the West. So it is renewed debates about the responsibility of social media tech companies for content shared on their platforms and whether they should prioritize safety. This is the word they will use. They're showing you the words they're going to use. The word is safety. The word is safety, which safety is how COVID came in. It's how the Patriot Act comes in. Everything that is restrictive and bad will come in under the realm of safety, right? and cooperate with authorities over upholding free speech. Elon Musk, a self-styled free speech absolutist, condemned Durov's arrest, claiming free speech in Europe is under attack. I will say this real quick. I don't think Elon or even the position of America in the West is absolute. I don't think they're absolutists, right? Obviously, free speech is limited in some circumstances. For example, you cannot make a direct threat of violence. I can't say, "Oh, I'm going to go, beat up." Who am I going to pick on here? Let's see. Who should I pick on? Legal. I can't say I'm going to go to Legal's house on Tuesday at 2 p.m. with a baseball bat and break his knees, and you guys should all come with me. I can't say that. That's too specific. It's a direct threat. Right? It's very direct. It's very specific. Right? So that's not free speech. It's also not free speech to defame somebody. So whatever the defamation laws in your country, that is exempted from free speech. And generally, even free speech absolutists are like, yeah, no, we agree that defamation should not be allowed or should at least be punishable, right? Because you can say the defamatory thing, you just have to pay for it. If you damage someone's reputation by untrue shit, you have to pay for it. And that's part of our legal tradition. I think defamation is fine. I don't think defamation violates free speech. I think that is something that is not speech, right? Inherently. It becomes something else. Atkins says, Nick Atkins for 5. Thank you, sir. Said the word of the day is safety, brought to you by authoritarianism. The more you know, the more you know. Yeah. So, and listen, safety is what they're going to do when they say, oh, well, now we can't talk about guns at all. Now we can't talk about anything, opposition. Now we have to respect everybody's feelings. Now everybody has to get along. Now you can only say nice things. Now you can't, even insinuate that there's, that you disagree with somebody. That's how they get you in the Borg mindset. It's all safety because nobody's feelings can be hurt anymore. And when we get in that world, we're done. Freedom of speech dies when feelings can't be hurt. And I know it sucks. I know it's mean. Still, Hunch says Eagle is so short. You're better off with a golf club rather than a bat. Oof, yeah, legal. Definitely could punt him. Maybe like a ping pong paddle. Might be good for little old legal sparrow. Yeah, it's a huge problem. Let's see here. Okay, this is a Vox article on the same thing. So I want to get this out and show you guys this. Because here's a Vox article. So Telegram's lax moderation policy is cashing out with CEO. So we're not going to read the whole thing because I'm kind of tight on time here. But what I wanted to bring here is and show you this part where they talk about the attacks. And this is how you get in here. In years since its founding, Telegram has allegedly enabled some of the most some truly shocking crimes. It was used to coordinate ISIS attacks in Paris and Berlin. It cracked down on ISIS-based activity on the app after those attacks, but its content moderation had faced a lot of scrutiny. Right. Well, once again, do you blame the thing that is used for the actual crime? No, because there's no criminal culpability. That's a basic of the law. There's no mens rea there at all. So to try to blame them and say that that was an enabling, no, it was not. They could use anything to coordinate. They could use other realms to coordinate. And guess what? They probably still wouldn't have caught it because it's Europe. Because it's like it. Once again, most things like that of that scale degree aren't going to be caught very easily. King Lugia for 5. Thank you so much. And then LJ O'Rourke. King Lugia and LJ O'Rourke. Guys, today you are.
Not a sin. I cannot absolve you. Mega based.
Thank you, LJ O'Rourke. In chat, say thank you to LJ O'Rourke and King Lugia here. Thank you so much. King Lugia said, I want peeps to get along, but this is 1984 days. Yeah, this is 1984 days. And once again, I'm okay with all sorts of speech, whether I agree with it or not. In fact, we're going to talk about some other stuff. And, I may not necessarily agree with everything that's out there, but it still should be able to be presented. In fact, I obviously don't agree with CP or terrorism or anything else, but I'm not going to say, oh yeah, we need to take down an entire thing because there's a potential bad use for it. There's a bad use for a lot of stuff, right? The same argument is used to get rid of guns. In the US at least. Let's see. On Rumble, somebody asked a question. Could countries doing this cause the U.S. to list them as not recommended for travel since it could be prosecuted for legal action? Well, let's get to that. So the last article I had here, which is really the one that I was like running out because this is on Cointelegraph, which is very interesting. You know, little cryptoisms here. But Rumble boss departed from Europe after this Telegram CEO's arrest. So literally, Chris Pavlovsky fled Europe after French police arrested Telegram CEO and they threatened Rumble. So they said that Rumble obviously calls itself immune to cancel culture. So he left. He's a Canadian, Chris Pavlovsky. He said they threatened Rumble and they crossed a red line. So he said, I'm a little late to this, but for good reason. I've just safely departed from Europe. France has threatened Rumble, and now they have crossed a line by arresting Telegram CEO Pavel Durov, reportedly for not censoring speech. Rumble will not stand by this behavior and will use every legal means available to fight for freedom of expression, a universal human right. We are currently fighting in the courts of France, and we hope for Pavel Durov's immediate release. Mind you, the DSA in Europe has been coming for X and also coming for Rumble as well, right? So they're coming for these platforms because they want censorship. And you can see here, Rumble blocked access to French users in November 2022, claiming its country's government asked it to remove certain Russian news sources, which it said it would legally challenge. They want people to censor because they think you're not adults and they think you can't screen the information yourself. He did not share what country he had left and where his current whereabouts are. And Rumble did not immediately respond for requests for comment. They're a video sharing platform based in Florida and Ontario. It's known for lenient content policies compared to Meta and Google. Durov, a Russian-born citizen, was arrested by French officers. We know that, right? And then French authorities have not released a public statement on Durov's arrest, but expect to on Monday. So I'm going to stay tuned for that statement, but very crazy that they're threatening pretty much everybody. And the biggest thing is this comes on the tail of some insane findings from the Meta hearings, right? The Meta hearings have dropped some crazy information where we pretty much have found out that the U.S. government was actively engaging in political partisanship and censoring, particularly through Meta. It's from Jim Jordan of the House Judiciary. So he says, there's a lot of talk right now about how the U.S. government interacts with companies like Meta, and I want to be clear, our platforms are for everybody. We're about promoting speech and helping people connect in a safe and secure way. We regularly hear from governments around the world and others with various concerns about around public discourse and public safety. In 2021, the Biden administration, including the White House, repeatedly pressured our teams for months to censor certain COVID-19 content. So this is straight up saying, and once again, this is a letter from Mark Zuckerberg. This is Mark Zuckerberg's letter here. He signs it at the end. I'm going to show you his signature. Right. They said they were asked to censor it, including humor and satire. Expressed a lot of frustration with our teams. We didn't agree. Ultimately, it was our decision whether to take the content down, and we made our own decisions. And we own our decisions, including COVID-19 related changes we made to our enforcement in the wake of this pressure. I believe the government pressure was wrong, and I regret that we were not more outspoken about it. I think we made some choices with the benefit of hindsight and new information that we wouldn't make today. Like I said to our teams at the time, I feel strongly that we should not compromise our content standards due to the pressure from any administration in either direction. We're ready to be pushed back if something like this happens again. Let's see, because we're gearing up to go into a hyper aggressive, we're already in it, but we're in an insane election cycle. I mean, think about what we've had in the last like 3 months in the from the US standpoint, right? We had a president almost assassinated. We had another president who for years, people were talking about his shitty health. He said, no, I'm okay. No, I'm okay. Totally, I'm running. I'm not stepping down. And like a week later, in a bad debate performance, and he steps down. And then we've got a full deep-throated by Tim Walz, New campaign by Kamala, right? So this is going to be a crazy season, and so they're hyping up to try to censor because they know they're going to need to censor, right? Oh, I see. Someone said hi from Germany. Hey, what's up? I guess would it be late there? Is it guten Abend? What time is it in Germany? Let's see. Oh, it's PM. Yeah, guten Tag. Okay, guten Tag. We're in the afternoon. Okay. So craziness there. And then saying separately, the FBI warned us about potential Russian disinformation about the Biden family and Burisma that led up to the 2020. So they censored the story. And they took it out, right? The report was completely true. It was not Russian disinformation at all. It was 100% accurate about Biden and Burisma and Hunter. The Hunter Biden story was legit. And the last part here, which I have the signature from Zuck, you see, right here, respectfully, S Zuck, he's doing the little, the typed out signature there, founder of Meta. But he says, apart from content moderation, I want to address the contributions I made during the last presidential cycle to support electoral infrastructure. The idea here was to make sure local election jurisdictions across the country had the resources and they needed to help people vote safely during the global pandemic. I made these contributions through the Chan Zuckerberg initiative. They were designed to be nonpartisan, spread across urban, rural, and suburban communities. Still, despite the analysis I've seen showing otherwise, I know that some people believe this work benefited one party over another. It did. My goal is being neutral and not trying to play a role one way or another, or even to appear to be playing a role, so I don't plan to make a similar contribution this style. Well, ain't that fucking a coinky dink, right? Ain't that a coinky dink? So we see there was a lot of fuckery afoot, particularly during the last election cycle, last 4 years, during COVID, a lot of fucking around. Muzzy Skeleton says Europe must save itself. We have our must. No, I agree. And look, I'm not an American who wants to push Americanness on other people. You've got to want that. I mean, I believe that fundamentally a country must want to change itself. We're not American world police, and I'm actually of the belief that we should not be. That we should not be going over and trying to inject our values into other people through force. We should convince people that they're right, but if they do not feel compelled by that, we cannot go over and convince, for example, Afghanistan, right, to suddenly accept super liberal modern democracy, where you've got all sorts of marriages and arrangements and everything else that are quite haram over there in the Taliban's regime. I mean, and when you looked at the polling, even for the Taliban, I mean, the majority of the folks were like, "Yeah, we want the Taliban back." Right? How long were we there? Hearts and minds? How long? You can't change a people and a culture that doesn't want to change fundamentally. Nashman 2K24 says 2 months, and here's to many more. Hey, cheers. Appreciate those that are members. Thank you for sticking around. I really appreciate you. We're going to do a member stream very soon, so hang on for that. Cerebral Parasite says there's no words in the French language for freedom of speech or deodorant. There's two things a Frenchman knows how to run well: a restaurant and a whorehouse. The rest is mad. No, I'm joking. But that said, the French know how to make good bread. I'll say that. I like croissants. I do like croissants. There's a place near me. There's like a French bakery near where I'm at. They make very good croissants. I do like croissants. Or a petit pain au chocolat. All right. I've got a little time here at the end. So I want to cover Fifi. Now, this is a related topic. Now, I know I typically separate out VTuber stuff, but this is more of a censorship thing than a VTuber thing. Just happens to be with the VTuber, and I love covering the law through the lens of VTubers. It's like kind of great and awesome. So here's Fifi here. So Fifi, or Kofifi Chan on Twitter, says, this is a post here. I want to handle this in private, but I have no choice but to publicly talk about this. 2 weeks ago, my channel was demonetized, and I received a strike on my channel from a video from 2 years ago that does not break any rules on YouTube. I sent in an appeal. So his whole channel was demonetized, or her channel was demonetized. And I sent an appeal. It was rejected by a bot in 5 seconds flat. This happens to me too. It happens all the time. The bot, the automatic review, automatically just felts you right away, just destroys you, wrecks you, and says, nope. You have to actually tag Team YouTube before it gets handled, right? So, excuse me. They then say, I then decided I would have my lawyers reach out to Team YouTube privately to avoid any issues. Now, this is where I say, remember how I say like lawyers don't always solve the issues? Well, look what happened to the lawyers. Lawyers didn't solve this. YouTube told my lawyers they were too busy and would only deal with creators who were monetized. Monetized channels were not, like unmonetized channels were not allowed a human review, only a bot review. So I am publicly asking Team YouTube to please review the content my lawyers provided to you. And then obviously we're posting here 17 hours ago that there's still no response. So they're still not responding to that. So you know what I'm going to do here? I'm actually going to quote post this, and we're going to do a little post here. So let's tag Team YouTube. Let's do this just live here. I have a feeling something else triggered the demonetization, but at the very least, you can give a proper review and detailed reason for the demonetization. Creators deserve this. If you guys could like that one, that would be much appreciated, right? To get that out there, get the word out there. Much appreciated, guys. Much appreciated. So now I have a feeling with Fifi that there's a reason why they were demonetized. I'm about to show you in a second, but before that, Leprechaun Gold.
Hello, Peso Department.
Thank you very much there for that. Appreciate your Shiba with a cup. Appreciate that. Thank you. So yeah, so I have a feeling I know why they were demonetized. Now, I didn't take much, it didn't take long for me to figure this out. Now I can't show you all this on YouTube because I'll get in trouble, but obviously going over to Fifi, for those that don't know, Fifi, punk ass VTuber, hashtag Breed Brigade. So I read that before I even scrolled down, and I was like, oh, okay. And then I saw it right here, a Fansly, right? If you have, here's the issue. If she had a Fansly link in the description, that probably triggered something in the monetization, right? And especially like look at like her, like I scroll down, it's like send nudes, which by the way, once again, good art, really cool. Big up on you. I support you guys doing whatever you want to do. You can loot tube, you can do whatever you want. You know, I'm all for people who want to start a Fansly, start a Fansly. It's awesome. Yeah, go for it. But understand that if you drop this link, people know Fansly is a site that hosts adult content. And if you look over at their policies, including their nudity and sexual content policy, right? So obviously, you're not allowed to have nudity or pornography or any depictions of acts or fetishes for sexual gratification. And if you link that up with their policy about links, which is if you have a link that they view that violates their policies or they determine is unsafe, they're going to remove it and they can strike you over that, right? If they find that it's severe abuse. Right. So what I guess they're saying is they're looking at it and saying, oh, yeah, this is really bad. Now, the fucked up thing is, if that's why they're going to do it, they should just say, we struck you because you have a Fansly. They should just be clear about it. But they're not being clear about that. Right. You know, so some people say Fifi does not have a Fansly link in YouTube. Okay. Maybe it was something else. I don't know. Yeah. Or maybe there's another link that led to the feed. I don't know. Who knows? Like the link chain. Who knows? Right. What they're picking up on here. Maybe X. Could be. Maybe it could be an X link. That could be it too. Once again, I'm not saying whether this is right, but sites like Twitch and YouTube are going to enforce their policies, but at least they should be transparent about it. Look, if their platform is going to say this is not allowed, that's fine. Just say this is not allowed. The problem with YouTube, and to a certain extent Twitch as well, in a different way, is they don't tell you what's banned. They just ban you, and they're like, well, for reasons, because you violated the community guidelines. Okay, what I violate? Guys, I cannot get my plaque, and they won't tell me why. They won't. They're like, well, at some point you violated a guideline. I'm like, what was the guideline? Like, you're not advertiser friendly. What does that mean? What does that actually mean? Well, you're not advertiser friendly. What does that mean? Like, can you please tell me? Just tell me what that means. What did I do? Because I know what it probably is. Maybe I posted about COVID or something and they didn't like that. Right? But just tell me. And they don't want to do that. That's really frustrating. So people ask, can you sue them? Oh, it's a difficult case. Is it possible? Yes. Is it probable to prevail? It's going to be tough. You might have some like lost wages and stuff like that. It's possible. Let's see here. Cynical Outlook says, looking at Fifi's video thumbnail, I'm surprised her account wasn't terminated instead of just demonetized. Yeah. That might be it. I mean, Crow says the refusal to provide specific violations should be a criminal offense. I agree. I think you're entitled to some sort of process, right? Some sort of due process. When they're going to take something away from you, they should at least tell you why, right? And maybe give a little bit of a warning so you can change stuff. Curio says, I think it's to prevent people who found a loophole. What loophole? It's an old video. And it was like, I think, one video. It wasn't like it was an issue on all of her videos, just that one video. So, yeah. But that lawyer man was right about the coup. They're very mad. People are very mad that I'm right. And even Zuckerberg admitted it in his letter. Zuckerberg said, you know what? We were wrong to censor stuff about COVID because that stuff was right. Right? I'm going to tell you guys a secret. You guys want to know a secret? Don't tell anybody. It's just between me and the 700 people watching. During coronavirus, I got ivermectin given to me by weird Japanese people. Yeah, I had that horse medicine. I took that spicy mectin. Actually, I wasn't even sick and I took it. I was like, not sick with COVID. I just had like a regular like flu or something. And so our good old friend of the channel, Max Mura, who may or may not be partial inspiration for my avatar here, right? This is kind of inspired by Max Mura. Drop me some Mectin. And yeah, if I mentioned that on YouTube back in the day, I would be banned for a known effective drug. Crazy. Japanese demon lord Barry Lucifer said, good morning, everyone, and good afternoon, Andrew. Hey, good afternoon. Hope you're doing well with the base tomboy game. Let's see. Someone in the chat says, yo, I'm French. What the hell is that? It's been years already since we sacrificed freedom of speech. No need to be surprised. Well, look, I try to give the benefit of the doubt because I think like some people are pushing back on me saying like, oh, Andrew, you're a little too black-pilled and you're a little too hard on Europe and this and that. And I'm like, no, I have proof that Europe is doing these things. It's not just me being irrational. It's like this stuff is happening. It happened in the UK. It's happening in France. You're seeing it. It's active. And this is Looney Tunes from a legal standpoint. Arresting people for stuff that's done on their platform is nuts. You don't arrest YouTube or Twitch or Kick or whatever else for people use that, WhatsApp, whatever else for people using those services. the CEOs, to personally arrest a CEO. It's nuts. It's insane. But that said, speaking of sane, thank you guys for joining me today. I've got to run, but before I go, I've got a really cool clip I want to play here. It's about the D-Rays, right? Thank you for sending in this one. This is actually really, really good. How the D-Ray types confess their love. A little bit of a sound warning here. A little bit of a sound warning.
It's not like I like you or anything. Dummy. Boy, stop frowning. Annoys me to see you upset. You're so cute. Oh, you think you're good enough for me? You really mean a lot to me. I love you, I love you, I love you, I love you, I love you so much. You're never going to leave me, right?
I like the yondeer. It's always nice. All right, guys, thank you so much. Stay based, and I'll catch you next time.
Oh, shit. Here we go again.
Low,